150,000. That's the number of rockets and missiles currently aimed at Israel from southern Lebanon. Not an estimate, not intelligent speculation. 150,000 confirmed launch systems dispersed across 200 villages in a zone that extends from the Mediterranean coast to the Syrian border. And 72 hours ago, Iran gave Hezbollah the authorization code to begin targeting Israeli population centers. Not military bases, not infrastructure, population centers, Tel Aviv, Haifa, Jerusalem, the places where 70% of Israel's population lives within a 40-kilometer radius. Let me tell you exactly what just changed. For 18 years since the 2006 war, Hezbollah has been building this arsenal under a gentleman's agreement with Israel. We don't fire everything we have. You don't invade Lebanon and destroy everything we've built. Both sides maintained the fiction that this was a manageable threat, a strategic balance. Israel believed its air defenses could handle limited attacks. Hezbollah believed its arsenal provided deterrence without requiring use. That agreement just ended. Iran didn't ask Hezbollah to activate the arsenal. Iran ordered it. And the difference between those two words is the difference between a regional militant group with independent decision-making and a proxy force taking direct operational commands from Tehran. Here's what 150,000 launch systems actually means in practical terms. Israel's Iron Dome has 10 batteries deployed across the country. Each battery has 60 interceptors ready to fire. That's 600 interceptors total at maximum readiness. The time required to reload a battery after its interceptors are expended is approximately 24 hours, assuming the resupply trucks can reach the battery location safely, assuming the roads aren't under attack, assuming the crews survive to perform the reload. 600 interceptors versus 150,000 incoming projectiles. The math is not complicated. Iron Dome can intercept 600 threats if every single interceptor achieves a hit, which has never happened in combat. The actual success rate is approximately 85%. That means 600 interceptors destroy roughly 510 incoming projectiles. Israel has David's Sling for medium-range threats and arrow systems for long-range ballistic missiles, but those systems have even fewer interceptors available and are designed for different threat profiles. The combined Israeli air defense network can intercept perhaps 2,000 incoming projectiles if everything works perfectly and every system fires simultaneously with zero malfunctions. Hezbollah has 150,000 projectiles. That's 75 times more than Israel can possibly intercept. The remaining 148,000 will hit their targets unimpeded. Let me walk through what Hezbollah actually has in those 150,000 launch systems. The bottom tier is approximately 100,000 short-range unguided rockets. Katyusha variants, 120 mm artillery rockets, range of 20 to 40 kilometers, warheads between 10 and 20 kilograms. These are area saturation weapons, designed to be fired in salvos of 50 to 100 rockets simultaneously at cities in northern Israel, forcing entire populations into shelters, while more dangerous systems launch. The middle tier is approximately 40,000 medium-range rockets. Fajr 5 systems with 70 to 100 kilometer ranges can reach Tel Aviv from southern Lebanon. Warheads of 45 to 90 kilograms, enough to collapse residential buildings. Each interception costs Israel $50,000. Each rocket costs Hezbollah approximately $2,000. The cost exchange ratio is 25 to 1 in Hezbollah's favor, before accounting for the fact that Hezbollah has 20 times more rockets than Israel has interceptors. The top tier is approximately 10,000 precision-guided missiles and long-range systems. This is where the threat becomes existential rather than merely devastating. Fateh 1 and 10 missiles with 300-kilometer range and GPS guidance accurate to within 10 meters. Zelzal 2 missiles with 200-kilometer range and 600-kilogram warheads. Scud variants with ranges exceeding 400 kilometers. M600 missiles, which are Syrian-modified Fateh 110s with even better accuracy. These are not rockets. These are ballistic missiles, with guidance systems that can hit specific buildings in Tel Aviv from launch sites in northern Lebanon. And Hezbollah has 10,000 of them. Let me tell you what 10,000 precision-guided missiles means for Israeli infrastructure. Israel has 7 major power plants supplying 85% of electricity, 3 desalination facilities providing 80% of drinking water, and 1 international airport handling 96% of passenger traffic. Hezbollah can assign hundreds of missiles to each critical facility and still have thousands remaining for military targets. I want you to understand what happens when these systems fire simultaneously in a coordinated saturation attack, because this is not a scenario where Hezbollah fires 100 rockets and waits to see what happens. This is a scenario where Hezbollah fires 5,000 projectiles in the first 20 minutes. Here's the sequence. Minute 0, southern Lebanon launches 2,000 short-range Katyusha rockets at towns and cities within 40 kilometers of the border. The rockets are fired from mobile launchers dispersed across 50 different villages. Each launcher fires its payload and immediately relocates. The rockets are in the air for 90 seconds before impact. Israeli air defense radar detects the launches within 3 seconds. Iron Dome batteries calculate trajectories and determine that approximately 600 rockets are heading toward populated areas that require interception. The remaining 1,400 are calculated to impact in open areas or locations where interception is not cost-effective. Iron Dome begins firing. 60 interceptors launch from batteries covering northern Israel. Flight time to intercept is approximately 15 seconds. 51 interceptions succeed. 9 interceptors miss or malfunction. That means 549 rockets are still incoming toward populated areas. They impact residential neighborhoods, schools, commercial districts. The warheads are small, but 549 explosions across a dozen towns create thousands of casualties and immediate mass panic. Minute 3, while rescue services are responding to the initial impacts and while Iron Dome batteries are cycling through their reload sequences, Hezbollah launches 1,500 medium-range Fajr 5 rockets at cities across central Israel. These rockets have a flight time of approximately 4 minutes. They will impact at minute 7. Israeli air defense now faces a choice: use the remaining Iron Dome interceptors on these incoming medium-range rockets, or hold interceptors in reserve for the precision-guided missiles that Israeli intelligence knows are coming next. The decision is made. Fire everything available. 400 interceptors launch, 340 interceptions succeed, 1,160 rockets continue toward Tel Aviv, Haifa, and Jerusalem. Minute 7, the rockets impact. 1,160 explosions across Israel's 3 largest cities in a 90-second window. The warheads are larger than the Katyushas. Buildings collapse, fires spread. The civilian alert system is screaming continuous warnings. Shelters are full, hospitals are overwhelmed. Emergency services cannot respond to thousands of simultaneous impact sites. Minute 10, Hezbollah launches 1,500 precision-guided Fateh 110 missiles. These are the systems Israel fears most. GPS-guided, 300-kilometer range, 500-kilogram warheads, accurate to within 10 meters. The targets are not random. The targets are Israel's critical infrastructure: power plants, water facilities, the airport, military command centers, telecommunications hubs. Flight time is 6 minutes. They will impact at minute 16. Israeli air defense has fired 1,060 interceptors in the first 10 minutes. The remaining stockpile across all systems, Iron Dome, David's Sling, Arrow, is approximately 940 interceptors. Now, 1,500 precision-guided missiles are incoming. Israel can intercept at 62% if every remaining interceptor achieves a perfect hit. The reality will be closer to 50%. That means 750 precision-guided missiles will impact their targets. Israel's power grid goes offline. 2 desalination plants are destroyed. Ben Gurion Airport's runways are cratered. Military command bunkers take direct hits. And this is minute 16 of the attack. Hezbollah has fired 5,000 projectiles. Hezbollah has 145,000 projectiles remaining. Let me explain why Israeli retaliation does not solve this problem. Israel's Air Force will strike Hezbollah launch sites across southern Lebanon, but Hezbollah's launchers are mobile and dispersed across 200 villages. A Katyusha launcher is a truck that takes 90 seconds to set up, 30 seconds to fire, and 60 seconds to drive away. Precision-guided missile launchers are stored in underground bunkers, pulled out for launch, and returned within 5 minutes. Israeli pilots cannot hit targets hidden underground 90% of the time. Even if Israel destroys 50% of Hezbollah's arsenal, 75,000 projectiles remain. That's still 37 times more than Israel can intercept. Let's talk about what Iran gains from activating this arsenal now. Because this is not a Hezbollah decision. This is an Iranian strategic choice to use Hezbollah as a weapon against Israel, while Iran itself maintains the fiction of non-direct involvement. Iran is currently engaged in conflict with Israel across multiple fronts. Direct missile exchanges between Iranian and Israeli territory, proxy attacks through militias in Iraq and Syria, naval incidents in the Red Sea and Mediterranean. Iran is losing the perception battle. International media frames Iran as the aggressor. Regional allies are hedging their support. American military presence is expanding in response to Iranian actions. Iran needed to shift the narrative and impose costs on Israel that force international intervention before Israel's retaliatory campaign degrades Iranian capabilities further. Activating Hezbollah's arsenal accomplishes both objectives. First, it shifts attention from Iranian actions to Israeli suffering. When Tel Aviv is under missile bombardment and Israeli casualties are climbing into the thousands, the media stops covering Iranian missile facilities and starts covering humanitarian crisis in Israel. Second, it forces Israel into a ground invasion of Lebanon. There is no other military option. Airstrikes cannot eliminate the threat. Diplomacy cannot stop the launches once they begin. The only way to end the bombardment is to physically occupy southern Lebanon and destroy the launchers one by one. That requires a ground invasion. And ground invasions of Lebanon have historically been catastrophic for Israel. The 1982 invasion led to 18 years of occupation and guerrilla warfare that created Hezbollah. The 2006 war lasted 34 days and ended without achieving Israeli military objectives. Lebanon's terrain is mountains, forests, and urban areas where mechanized forces lose their advantages and infantry combat becomes building-to-building clearing operations. Hezbollah has spent 18 years preparing defenses specifically designed to counter Israeli ground forces, anti-tank missiles, IEDs, ambush positions, tunnel networks. Israeli casualties in a Lebanon ground invasion will be measured in hundreds per week, and those casualties will be broadcast internationally, creating pressure for withdrawal before the mission is complete. Iran knows this. Iran planned for this. Activating Hezbollah's arsenal is not about destroying Israel militarily. It's about forcing Israel into an unwinnable ground war that drains Israeli resources, kills Israeli soldiers, and creates international pressure that limits Israel's ability to strike Iranian targets. And the timing is calculated. Iran activated Hezbollah now during an ongoing conflict, specifically to open a second front that divides Israeli military resources. Israeli air defense must now protect against both Iranian missiles from the east and Hezbollah rockets from the north. Israeli aircraft must now fly missions against both Iranian facilities and Hezbollah positions. Israeli ground forces must now prepare for both potential Iranian retaliation and certain Lebanese invasion. This is strategic overextension by design. Israel cannot win on both fronts simultaneously. Something has to give. Either Israel accepts ongoing Hezbollah bombardment and focuses on Iran, or Israel invades Lebanon and reduces pressure on Iranian targets. Both choices are Israeli defeats. One destroys Israeli cities, the other destroys Israeli military capability through attrition. The question Israeli command is asking right now is not whether to invade Lebanon. The question is whether Israel can survive long enough to complete the invasion. Week 1, Hezbollah fires 30,000 projectiles. Israeli air defenses are exhausted. Week 2, Israel launches ground invasion with 40,000 troops. Hezbollah continues firing from positions north of the invasion zone. Casualties mount. Week 3, Israeli forces advance 15 kilometers. Hezbollah still fires from 30 kilometers north. The invasion is not stopping the bombardment. Week 4, international ceasefire pressure becomes unbearable as Tel Aviv remains under bombardment and Israeli forces are bogged down in Lebanon. Tel Aviv is still under bombardment, and the strategic objective, eliminating Hezbollah's arsenal, is no closer to achievement than it was at week 1. This is the scenario Iran designed. This is why Iran activated Hezbollah's arsenal. Not to win militarily, but to create a strategic problem Israel cannot solve through military means. I want to be clear about what happens to Israeli civilian life when this bombardment begins. Warning time for rockets from Lebanon to Tel Aviv is 90 seconds. Most shelters are 30 to 60 seconds away. During saturation attacks, alerts sound continuously. You reach shelter, explosion happens, all clear sounds, you leave, next alert sounds 3 minutes later. This cycle repeats 50 times per day. Eventually, alert fatigue sets in. People stop running. Some die when that calculation fails. Schools close. Hospitals cannot function. The economy stops. This is not 10 rockets per day. This is 1,000 rockets per day that defenses cannot stop. Share this video because mainstream media will show you Iron Dome intercepting rockets and declare the defenses are working. They will not show you the mathematics that prove the defenses are failing. They will not explain that Hezbollah has 75 times more projectiles than Israel has interceptors. They will not tell you that precision-guided missiles are hitting critical infrastructure that cannot be rebuilt during wartime. Both narratives are true. Interceptions are happening, and Israel is losing. Only one narrative matters for what happens next. The arsenal is active. The missiles are aimed. And the attack that follows will not be measured in hundreds of casualties. It will be measured in whether Israeli society can continue to function while under sustained bombardment that air defenses cannot stop. 150,000 projectiles pointed at Tel Aviv right now.